Those are the sounds of what may be Calgary's best-kept musical secret. The Calgary Civic Symphony is an amateur orchestra that has been performing in this city for more than 40 years. It's made up of people from all kinds of occupations. There's doctors and lawyers, engineers, stay-at-home moms. They have two things in common. One, they have to have a day job because they don't get paid to play. And the other is they just love to make music. You're about to meet some of those musicians and hear what it sounds like to be part of what they lovingly call the Civic.
My name is Manon Mitchell, and I'm the president of the Calgary Civic Symphony, but I'm also a violinist in the orchestra. This orchestra has been around Calgary for 40 years. I joined about 21 years ago. And what's cool about this orchestra is that everybody's got a day job. But these are really top-notch musicians that get together once a week to rehearse and produce concerts in the Jack Singer Concert Hall. So it's really quite exciting to get together on a Monday night and put together all this big orchestra sound. We're 83 people, 83 members this year, so there's a lot of amazing sound coming out of this orchestra. It's a lot of fun. There's quite an array of jobs or careers. We have everything from professionals like doctors, engineers, accountants. We have a couple of lawyers, and we actually have one guy who's an RV tech. So if you need your RV fixed, he can help you with that. So it's quite an array of people. But we all come together because we love to play in an orchestra setting, as opposed to just playing at home in our living room by ourselves. The quality of the music is very interesting because this has actually increased dramatically over the last 10 years. And mainly for two reasons. One is very creative programming on the part of the conductor and the programming committee. And what our conductor, Rolf, is demanding from us. And then the willingness of the musicians to go back home and practice and meet that standard. So the quality of the performances now are absolutely incredible. Sometimes Rolf tells us that sometimes you sound like a professional orchestra, which is a little quite flattering for us. But all in all, it's a pretty awesome sound.
Can we do that once? Seriously, get closer to the bridge.
My name is Rolf Bertsch, and I'm the conductor and music director of the Calgary Civic Symphony. It is one of 5 hats that I wear. I teach about 22 private students here at Mount Royal at the Conservatory. I also run the Academy Piano program, which is the elite program for the most obviously gifted pianists. There are about 30 of them. I am pianist of the Calgary Philharmonic Orchestra and the artistic director of the Instrumental Society of Calgary, which is a chamber music series that presents the best of the professional musicians in the area. The Civic Symphony is an amazing group, one that I conducted when I was resident conductor of the Calgary Philharmonic back between '98 and '01. They were not at all the same orchestra that they are today. And when I left for Montreal after my contract here with the CPO was done, I said if I ever had a chance to come back to Calgary, I would love to come back because I really thoroughly enjoyed my 3 years here. A variety of circumstances in around 2005, 2006 opened the door for my return to Calgary, and I was very happy to come back and excited to return. And at one point I knew that the then conductor of the Civic was leaving and that they would be looking for somebody, and I contacted them and said I'd love to come back. And it all worked out. They said yes, and here we are 8 years later, and I have to say that what the orchestra has done is extraordinary. The development in the quality, the dedication, the professionalism, notwithstanding the fact that it is an amateur orchestra. It's amazing.
I'm Martin Kramer. I am a father of 3, and I work downtown in the oil industry, and geophysicist by background. Just the top one. Okay. So I started playing music as a kid, and like most kids, was suggested by my parents to get into it, and so I played violin all through elementary school and high school. And then it kind of went on hiatus for a while until I had my own kids and realized that my musical education and musical background was a big part of my growing up and my development, and really wanted to pass that along to my kids. When it came time for them to be of age to take some lessons, I pulled out my violin case, dusted it off, and started playing again. So I guess, yeah, my love of music comes from an early age, and then now it's kind of translated through my kids. My 2 oldest play the violin, and then to give a little diversity to the scene, my youngest plays the cello. And so far, so good. They see me practicing, they see me going to rehearsal on Monday nights, and then 5 times a year, there's Dad up on stage at the Jack Singer, and so you can really see the connection between the practice and the product. And I think they've taken that to heart a bit too. So we kind of celebrate all of our performances. One measure of the strength of the arts community in Calgary is the depth of it. And the Civic is we're not a professional orchestra, obviously, but we occupy a certain space in the arts community where we do play to a very high standard, and it also allows people who are not necessarily professional musicians to have an outlet for their artistic expression. And we get to play with some really great professional musicians, and under the directorship of a great conductor as well.
I've played since I was about 12 years old, and I kind of knew right away that I wanted to play the trumpet, and then I never changed my mind after that. I never wanted to play anything else.
I've played trumpet since grade 6. Studied trumpet at school and played professionally for a while, and I always like to say I took my mom's advice and got a real job at one point, which is where I am now. So I play, as an amateur, still take it very seriously. One of my mentors used to say amateur in the Olympic sense, because we're very, very hard working about what we do, but we're not making a living doing it.
Well, karate is our number 2 pastime in our household, and we both do karate. We have both learned from each other and from our instructor, and we both instruct.
For me, karate has always been, if you will, the physical manifestation of music. There's many elements in the martial arts. We're not big fighters. We don't really do any fighting to speak of, except the training we do in our clubs. But the arts, we learn forms, so it's almost like a piece of music.
What I love about the Civic is playing with musicians that are really good caliber. And Rolf, our conductor, is fantastic. He's got ears this big, and he knows what he wants, and he can give you a smile that will last 3 weeks in your mind, or he can give you that look like, come on, and he's always challenging you. And there's other musicians in the group that are so good, and you just listen and you think, okay, I hear how they're doing that, and I'm going to try to do the same thing for that unity of group. The same phrase will go through flute and clarinet and oboe, and then it'll come around maybe through the horns and the trumpets. And if you're the first person to play that phrase, then you know that everybody else is listening, and it just comes around, and it's this whole feeling of being part of something important and something big, and that testing of yourself and that competitiveness.
My name is Stuart Bordeaux. I work as a public education officer for Alberta Health Services EMS here in Calgary. And what my job entails is essentially all things for external communications with the EMS. Public relations, media relations, community events, injury prevention, anything to do that has a public face to EMS here in Calgary. My love affair with music really began when I was 12, when I started the clarinet. My band teacher at the time walked out, gave me my clarinet, and as soon as I started taking lessons on the clarinet, I knew it was something I always wanted to have as part of my life. And indeed, I went on to do a music degree. I graduated with a Bachelor of Music Performance in spring of 1995. And I really had my sights on being a professional orchestral musician. That's what I loved, that's where my passion was, that's what I recognized that I really felt I wanted to do. I love playing in the Civic Orchestra. It provides an opportunity for me to continue playing on my clarinet while I still have another job in another world, yet I don't have to leave music behind. The amount of repertoire, the number of guest artists, the number of other fellow musicians I get to work with has just been incredible. And it's a real joy. It's different every season. And as well, it's a challenge that keeps me present and focused on maintaining my skills as a clarinet player. The Civics programs are incredibly listener-friendly and very approachable. It's very, very family-friendly, and the music is just very easy to listen to. We have very widely varied programs. We include music that's maybe familiar to a lot of people and they would like to come hear it again live, but also music that people have never heard before. It gives them a chance to learn something new about the orchestral repertoire.
My name is Sue Hawk. I am a graphic designer by day and a musician by night. I've had a lifelong love of music. From the time I was a little baby, my mom says that I was humming Christmas carols before I could even speak. So music was always something that I was attracted to. And in fact, it was what I wanted to do for a living. So I actually went to school as a performance major in Toronto and studied flute performance. I ended up not pursuing it as a career, but I have continued to be a serious amateur musician all my life. And then my day job as a graphic designer, it really is a nice balance to this creative way of living. I love form and color and texture and shape, and I have an opportunity to do that in my own artwork and in painting. And I feel very fortunate to be in the Calgary Civic Symphony. It has afforded me so many opportunities, and I feel very fortunate that I have this wonderful balance in my life.
Well, I'm a member of the cello section, so I play cello. So I'm a professor with the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, and I also head the Department of Comparative Biology and Experimental Medicine. I do research, and I teach both veterinary students and graduate students here at the university. There may be some brain connection between being a scientist and a musician, I don't know. Like a lot of medical schools have orchestras, at least in Europe. For me it's two separate lives. It's, this is what I do during the day in order to get a paycheck, and then music is separately. I feel very fortunate that this exists in Calgary because not every place I've been had an amateur orchestra that can play at that level. Lots of community orchestras you don't really want to go listen to. The Civic is different. I mean, it's a good level of performance, and I think it's going to get better because it feeds on itself. If it's good, other people want to come play. People who are there will play better. We can play bigger repertoire. I think it's probably, it's only going to get better, but it's at a level that it's really a lot of fun. Right?
It's unfortunate that we're really not that well known in town yet, but it's coming. Our audiences are growing to the point where the only place where we can play now is the Jack Singer Concert Hall, because our audiences are so huge, and they keep coming back because they love what they hear and we love what we play.
So my name is Robin Bunker. I teach at SAIT in the RV Service Technician program, and I've been doing that now for 10 years. I play the oboe. The oboe, if you know it, it's probably the biggest, some might argue, the biggest emoting instrument in the orchestra. It's so full of passion, and it's a great way to emote as you play. It's pretty amazing. The Civic Symphony is Calgary's best kept secret. I think we are a group of musicians that are there for the fun of playing music. There are very few of us that make our living playing music, very few people. Most people are doing it because it's a love they have. It's an outlet where they can go and they can play their instruments and be a part of the bigger picture. And we get to play some pretty spectacular repertoire as well. It's not something that everybody gets a chance to do. And play on the best stage in Calgary.
So my name is Laurie Barrett, and I'm an employment specialist here at Mount Royal University in the Transitional Vocational Program. And we're a program that supports students with mild developmental disabilities. And my job is in the full-time program, so that means I go out to student job sites and assist them on the job, and also do some other things in the office, like teach a couple of short courses and assist students with other things that they need help with. I don't really ever remember not having music in my life at some point or another. When I was really young, my grandmother on my mom's side lived with us, and she was an organist in the church and a piano player and stuff. So I remember even sitting with her when I was 3 years old, and she would kind of help me plunk out a few notes here or there. And then as soon as I was old enough, I started taking piano lessons, which then evolved into getting in the band in junior high, and then the Gower Youth Band, which is a community band in St. John's, and I ended up going to university to study music, and it just kind of went on. I play the bassoon. Well, one of the neat things is that you get to play, especially in orchestral music, a lot of really cool bass lines. In bands it's good too, but in bands sometimes you're doubling the trombones or the tuba or other low instruments, bass, clarinet, and so on. But in orchestra, there are two bassoons, and we're a very distinct section with very distinct lines. Sometimes we get melodies too, which is very exciting when that happens. Being in an orchestra has always been something, since I've started doing it, that I need to do for my own fulfillment. There really is nothing else like it. The things that orchestral music does for me, you know, it's stimulating to the mind in so many different ways, stimulating to all the senses, really. And it's challenging. I have to practice. And so I can see the growth in myself and also in the orchestra.
The Calgary Concerto Competition is a competition that provides young teenage artists an opportunity to play as soloists with, in this case, the Calgary Civic Symphony. We devote one of our 5 regular season concerts to these winners. Typically, in the last few years, there have been 4 winners. So they each play a portion of a full-length concerto, just for timing reasons, because we prefer to give the opportunity to more playing shorter periods of time than to give it to perhaps to 1 or 2 of them. It's an opportunity for these brilliant, young, talented teenagers to perform with the orchestra. And we have had, past winners have gone on, some of them have gone on to have international careers, and we were the orchestra with whom they performed for the first time. And it's great for our musicians to share the stage with these gifted young people. It's really exciting. Regardless of what performers you're talking about, the best that we can do is to continue to believe in what we're doing and continue to make compelling performances. When we walk off the stage at the end of a concert and maybe there's a particularly challenging work that we've done and we nail it in the concert, to see people walking off stage with smiles on their faces and yes, we did it, yeah, that's a tremendous reward.
The big sound and big finishes like that are just two of the reasons why the Civic's audiences continue to grow. And hopefully will continue to grow for another 40 years of wonderful music. I'm Rick Castiglione. I'm going to leave you with part of a brand new composition created by award-winning Calgary composer Alan Bell.